thank you. Feel free to drop any questions in the chat. Let me mention that the questions about Yellow University will be answered in the end of our discussion. However, you can ask any questions about Web3, blockchain, different layers of it as we go, and we will do our best to answer them. Now we have 3 awesome guests today. I'll let you present yourself. Leo, can you start?
Hi, nice to meet everyone. I'm Leo Lara. I've been working in software engineering for more than 20 years. I'm very likely and very lucky. In the past few months, I already started working, helping the Ethereum Foundation on their CK EVM project, and I'm really enjoying getting my head into zero knowledge proof technology and starting to work on that. So that's kind of.
Thank you so much. We're super happy to have you here today. Akshita, maybe you can present yourself one more time.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Akshita Goyal. I am the co-founder and content lead at Flaq Club, which is basically an educational platform for onboarding Web 2 to Web 3 through interactive simulations built on different chains. I'm also building SuperwomenDAO, which is essentially an India-based DAO to onboard more and more women into Web3, or the women that are already in Web3, to increase the opportunities for them. And otherwise, I am from Bangalore, India, and I'm very happy to be speaking with everyone from different parts of the world. And I hope this will be a very fruitful discussion.
Thank you so much. I want to mention that Flaq is our partner, and the students from of our university can soon expect to see some cool simulations as a part of a platform. And we also have Oleksandr here, who represents Yellow Network. Oleksandr, I'll let you say a few words.
Hello, my name is Oleksandr. I'm product manager of Yellow Network. I'm in kind of blockchain area for the last 5 years. So it was pretty kind of interesting years, and it was interesting to observe what's going on in the industry, how everything was. And I think today it's going to be interesting kind of meeting to discuss what we have right now.
Thank you so much. So I'm gonna start with like this very simple question that was actually left by one of our community member earlier as we were just starting. So how can we explain layer 0, 1, 2, 3 in a simple way for someone who might not be super technical? So just like this, explain like in 5 from the smartest people in the industry. How would you do it? And again, you can just like answer as we go. Feel free to like communicate with each other. I'm not the person to be talking here, it's you. So yes, please talk.
Yeah. So, well, I know really about L1 and L2, no? I think L3 and L0 are kind of more new ideas, no? But we have been working with L1, that is kind of a blockchain, no? That is not relying on another blockchain for its security or decentralization capabilities. And L2 is a blockchain that is in general that is relying on other blockchain, another L1 for its security and decentralization. Yeah.
From my side, I can add a few more things about layer 0 and layer 3. So I would say that the history of blockchain started from layer 1. So technology was invented, but when the technology became kind of more interested for general markets, we faced scalability issues. And from that, the history of L2, L0, and L3 started. So in my vision, kind of everyone can have own opinion on what is level 1, level 2, level 3, level 0. But in simple word, I would say that layer 0 is kind of a protocol for creating blockchains. So it's kind of a base, a ground for creating L1 or creating what you need. Because previously, when you wanted to build blockchain, you start from zero, building your own consensus system, your own node mechanisms, verification, and so on. But with layer 0, it's kind of simplification when you have a toolbox or SDK where you configure all the stuff and you have it, and you can kind of do this during few hours or like up to one day. Layer 1, I would call it general purpose blockchains that trying to solve specific needs. Some of them trying to solve kind of majority of problems, for example, focusing on the fintech area or focusing on the gaming. And as a result, that not every network capable to deliver a smooth experience, we have layer 2. So layer 2, it's solutions that trying to bring some benefits like speed or cost of the transaction execution for more reliable blockchains. And I would say that the more layer 2 we have for Ethereum. So Ethereum was the main layer 1 blockchain that kind of grow with scalability solutions based on the state channels, different rollups, including optimistic approach, including with verification proof like ZK. And layer 3, I would say it's something new that is kind of bringing scalability to the second layer. So our network, Yellow Network, we call this layer 3 network because we built on the layer 2. And we are introducing a system that will kind of scale much more than you just simply implement this for layer 1. So having new concepts and building on layer 2, we cannot say that we are building layer 2 because we are changing concept of like regular state channels to the trading channels, and we are building on another layer. So I would call this layer 3. So it's in simple words, as I could explain you how I see the different layers, how it exists right now in the blockchain ecosystem.
Thank you so much, Oleksandr. That was quite an explanation. Akshita, do you maybe have anything to add here?
I think that explanations have left nothing for me to add. But I think if I were to give a very non-tech perspective to any non-tech listeners that we have over here, it would just be that think of the evolution from layer 1 to layer 3 as sort of a progressive evolution. That is that we went from the beginning and we're progressing forward, right? We may also see a layer 4 in the future, you never know, with the way that we've been progressing. And I would say that as much as layer 0 is something that everyone would assume is something that came in the beginning, it's actually exactly what Oleksandr said, which is that layer 1 is probably the foundation for everything. And is kind of more focused on security-based solutions, while layer 2 is for scalability, and layer 3 is probably for more app-specific use cases, like actually picking up specific problems and finding the use cases for it and building on top of that, right? So that's essentially how I would see the evolution.
Thank you so much. And so you mentioned that it's a progression, and I couldn't agree more with that. So talking about blockchain itself as the origin of crypto, so in your opinion, what were the problems that blockchain overcame throughout the years since its creation? Like maybe we can talk a bit about blockchain trilemma and how new projects try to solve that.
100%. So the blockchain trilemma is essentially the issue between scalability, security, and decentralization, right? It's essentially ensuring all three of these at the same time with one project. And a lot of projects either face issues with scalability or they face issues with decentralization, etc. So every chain has its own issues as well. So, for instance, a lot of people claim that Solana is not as decentralized, even though it is secure and scalable. Similarly, there are claims for Ethereum, there are claims for Bitcoin. Everyone has different perspectives of different chains, right? But there are a lot of projects coming up claiming to be solving all of this. For instance, Algorand claims to be solving all three of the issues, but the scalability is something that everyone is still looking to see. And so I think I'm not sure I personally agree that there's one project that's actively solved all three of them successfully. But obviously, I'd love to hear from our co-speakers as well.
Leo, what are your thoughts? Like Ethereum came as something that improved blockchain, but do you think that it has been successful in doing so?
Yeah, so I think with respect, like as Akshita was saying, I see like how the scalability, the trilemma that I think for our viewers is interesting to see it like a triangle made of rubber. No, if you pull from one of the sides, you're going to be putting more pressure in the others. No, so it's kind of a principle that forces you that if you the more secure a decentralized you make a blockchain, the most difficult is to make it scalable. No. And I think the approach to two layers, the LL1 as a that is the LL1 as a security and a very secure and decentralized kind of settlement blockchain, on top of which you build like rollups that are a type of L2s that kind of like put like a lot of transactions from that L2 into one message for to a smart contract in the L1, no, so that then it can be much more scalable. This L2, this rollup can handle much more transaction because they get kind of all compressed in a small transaction in the L1, and that's kind of like in the way that I think like the most promising projects are going. And in the future, like now that we have this type, the optimistic rollups, like Arbitrium, for example, I think is the leader. But in the future, we are working, and there will be like these zero knowledge based rollups that will kind of solve one of the problems that the optimistic rollup has, that is like they need some time to move the funds to the L1. So with the CK, we will have them much faster. And I think that's kind of like how I see like the next years going forward in terms of incrementing the bandwidth of and the scalability of the blockchain. No? Yeah.
And can you like explain in simple words what is the main benefit that ZK rollups bring to the system?
Yes, so the main benefit, like for the end user point of view, without kind of going into technical details of how it works, is like the finality of the L1 transactions will be sooner than that in the case of the optimistic rollups. So another thing, and so you like once like a block in the optimistic rollup is produced, there is like a grace period in which someone can say that there is a problem with this block. And until that period has passed and nobody has claimed there is a problem with this block, that's how the optimistic rollup works. That block cannot be considered settled. No? And then with CK rollups, we will solve that problem, and in this period of will be a matter of seconds, of minutes, and now it's currently hours.
Okay, thank you so much. That's a great explanation. Oleksandr, any input from your side?
Yeah, about this trilemma, I would say that I would start from the beginning, like saying why blockchain kind of appeared as a technology. I see this as a lack of trust in the digital environment. Like you cannot trust anyone when you're interacting on the internet and so on. And from this point of view, I would say for me, trilemma is solved. So I can completely remove scalability point. I would leave security and decentralization. I will explain you why. If we have security and decentralization, we can have other layers to scale. And when you're ready to sacrifice some censorship, or you are ready to sacrifice with them kind of security, but to get more performance, you can use different scalability solutions. If you don't have a good backbone, like a level 1 that censorship resistant, that has good security, has good decentralization, you cannot build anything. So those layer 1 projects that are trying to bring scalability, in majority of cases, I think will fail at the end. Because at the end, there is a human factor that ruins everything. So if we keep kind of system secure and decentralized, is more beneficial for the global ecosystem. And I think that ZK Labs kind of is the future for scalability. I also like the idea, and I like this concept. But in our case, we are working with a bit different technology. We are working with the state channels. It's a bit different approach how to scale, and it fits more our domain needs, I would say. Maybe for other use cases, it's better to use rollups, but in our case, with the trading, with the fintech, we are developing this trading channels actually to unlock liquidity from different exchanges, from different networks, and to have kind of global liquidity that can be accessed by anyone who is using this technology.
Leo, do you have any criticism here? You seem to be like opposing parties, defenders here.
You mean? Sorry?
Do you have like any comments here? You seem to be like people from opposing parties here.
Why? No, not at all. I think the points of Oleksandr are pretty much okay. Yeah, I think it's like more like a necessity. I think explains simply other parts of what I will explain. No, like why we put in L1 the security and the decentralization, and then pass scalability to L2. No, why it's not done in a different way. No, I think he's explaining it very well, but I think that's the basis for it. Yeah, state channels are kind of like more like it's more like it's not general purpose, no, as like other technologies. So I think like there is another tension that perhaps we can start talking now about, like there is kind of this L1 L2 separation. No, there is one that believes like the L2s kind of will be general purpose, no, and there is some people that they think that these L2s will be kind of more application specific, no, and we see like approaches like in Ethereum is going towards more like general purpose L2s, and things like, for example, Polkadot goes to kind of more application specific L2s, no? So that's another kind of talk we haven't talked about.
Okay, thank you so much. And actually, let me welcome Vanya, our business analyst. He was also attending the first stream, and so here we are, more people. So the more opinions, the better. Leo,
hi guys.
I actually I've heard some people say that like during the crypto winter, like layer 1 projects, layer 1 tokens would be doing better, or be like in a better position as opposed to like layer 2 or layer 3 tokens. What's your opinion on that? And of course, you can add any more comments.
Yeah, well, I think if we are talking about tokens, I guess about ERC20s, for example, I guess like the valuation of each token. I mean, I'm not an investor, investment advisor or something, but I think the valuation must depend mostly in the fundamentals of um, of the project, no, that is behind it, more than in which layer it is in general. No? But of course, things as a means of kind of the security of holding a token, no, it is kind of considered in general more safe that is in a L1 that it is in L2, and also depending on the L2 and the different technologies to build L2s that there are, no. But yeah, I think that could give perhaps little plus of value that a token is in the L1 because we can consider it that kind of like its possession is as difficult to crack as to actually crack in the private key of the user. No? So yeah. So while other L2s could have had and has in the past more kind of serious security problems.
Okay, thank you so much. Vanya, Akshita, Oleksandr, do you have anything to add here?
Actually, I agree that kind of layer one can be kind of safe haven during the bear market. But if you talk about generally the technology, I wouldn't say that it's much changes during the kind of cycles on the market. Like if it's a bull or bear market, everything is developing and moving forward. It's just a question if you kind of there just to earn money, or if you are there to build something interesting using new technologies. So if people interested just to invest and get some return, yeah, of course they should consider kind of choosing like assets that more stable at harsh conditions. But if we are talking about kind of future development of the blockchain, of technologies around this kind of ecosystem, I would still consider following projects that are trying to solve specific problems for specific areas. For example, like solving scalability or solving liquidity or solving other particular issues in specific domain.
I think I completely agree with Alexandra. It depends on the intention of the person who is wanting to invest in those tokens, right? Like, I think that with layer one tokens, it's not just that they're more stable in a bear market, but also that generally people are more aware about them. A lot of people don't have the awareness that is necessary for layer two tokens per se, because most of us have just heard of, let's say, Ethereum or Bitcoin or Solana, etc. And so that becomes our go-to when it comes for when it's about investment or just about having a conversation about them or anything of that sort. And so I would say it's not only about their stability, but it's also about the awareness that they come with, right? They've been there in the game longer. Everybody knows about them. They automatically become your one-stop solution, is how I kind of look at it.
Maybe I can say something in addition to it, is that one of the key points of the bear market, it is impossibility to say when it ends, right? And you can say that it projects, it basically represents the team, their ideas, their approach, and the most important here, it's the questions they're working on. So the difference between layer one and layer two, that layer one teams, which are dedicated and they have their own blockchain, they're kind of, they can feel themselves more freely because they can adjust the modern needs, which are like changing every day in the community, to what they're basically producing. Because as soon as the bear market can take up to 2 years, let's say, during these 2 years, the special needs from the community, the new utilities may appear. So basically, when you're sitting on the not independent, let's say, layer two, you're kind of just more related to this layer one, and you just have to believe that that your layer one solution will still match your needs, which may change like even several times during 1 year. So basically, let's say having a layer 1 token gives you higher agility to to make some changes. Even lately, you can say that some changes may relate to unlocking, for example, some kind of stake tokens and to ability to transfer them. And for example, if you're sitting on a layer 2 chain and you might need something very vital, very mandatory for you, but you may still be limited because you can't get these changes on this layer 1. So basically, the final idea is here that having less layers in this kind of question gives you more let's say, higher chances to get new markets, get new utilities, get new customers, because these changes are radically changing every day.
What kind of changes are you talking about? Like, what could be the conditions or needs that these sort of projects would suddenly need to adjust to?
It could be something small up to something really huge, like, for example, to move into another type of consensus, to make a huge updates on your smart contract. It could be related to some kind of collateralized assets, or maybe, as we've seen like in the latest news, there were news about the potential Ethereum updates, because there is very, let's say, actual and hard question about having the access to those funds which are actually locked in staking contracts, right? So... And I'm not even saying about some kind of security stuff. So you can be a happy, some kind of new project on the Solana layer 1, and you may do absolutely fine your part, but once upon a time, your Solana will say, "Oh, hello guys, I'm offline. See you later." So yeah.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. Actually, it's funny that you mentioned Solana. I was gonna ask you guys, what do you think about Solana's future? There's been and honestly, this is a different case, but there's also this discussion that's been ongoing for a while about Ethereum killers, and Solana was supposed to be one of them until the recent problems. So what do you think we can be expecting moving forward here?
I would definitely like to hear something from Leo. I will just say a small introduction that I prefer my chain to be online all the time. Solana has really clever and nice white paper, but I think they have a bunch of room to develop themselves and to let's say, to work on their weak places.
Yeah, well, in my personal life, where I kind of move into Ethereum and approach Ethereum is like the ecosystem, no? I think the ecosystem is more than 10, 20 times bigger, perhaps not even Bitcoin, as part of number of developers and so, and there is there is this report from Anderson Horowitz that has a very interesting graph about that. I don't know if you have seen it. There's a graph that with data that confirms it. So that's, for me, it's software is a very human endeavor. No? We make software in groups, as teams, as community. Software is something organic that kind of grows from developers, and I think that the huge community that Ethereum has is can overcome any obstacle. Yeah. There's more trust on the people than actually on a particular technology, or yeah.
And what do you think would be the decision or the destiny of all these projects that decided to build on Solana? Do you think they will keep up with their efforts to avoid just throwing the money out of the window, or how do you see these things evolving here?
I don't know. I'm not saying that there will not be more than one L1. No? Probably there will be more than L1, the one L1. No? But it's very difficult to know which one will be the other L1s. I think, Bitcoin and Ethereum are very established, no, and it's difficult to say. I think there will be probably other strong L1s. No, I don't think it will be just Ethereum, but yeah, it's difficult to see which of all these, no, and it's difficult for anyone really to understand all of them, no, to see And sometimes just the technical issues are not what decide everything, no? Like there is all this human factor about who has the biggest community, who has the more kind of heart put into it, no? So
Absolutely.
I think I'd say to your second question, which is that do you think the projects that are building on Solana will survive? I think it's a very interesting anecdote from something that happened very recently. A friend of mine was building something on Solana and was in talks with a VC in India. Obviously, won't throw any names here, but the VC very specifically said, I would not be investing if you're building in Solana, because I think everyone is just seeing Solana really peaked all of a sudden for 2 years, and then it also really suddenly dropped, right? And I think nobody was really expecting that fall with Solana, the percentage drop that came with it. Everyone had a lot of doubts and questions come up about the security of the entire ecosystem itself. And so I think presently most of the projects that are building on Solana will either eventually just die down, or if they do want to continue, they'll probably become multi-chain. Like they'll start expanding into other chains as well in order to stay afloat, in the hope that Solana sort of comes back, right? That's kind of how I see it.
Oleksandr, Vanya, maybe you can share an insight about the chains that Yellow Network token will be built on and the whole.
Yeah, so our idea is actually to not invent the wheel. We will not create new blockchain. It's kind of current decision. Maybe it will be changed in the future. But what we want to do, we want to deploy on the existing L2, our main infrastructure, to make it even cheaper. So state channels is kind of solution that helps you to scale almost unlimitedly, based only on your latency and your hardware. And if we would put this on layer 1, we would still have high fees and some delays in transaction mining. If we put this on more scalable solutions like L2, it helps us to kind of make it even cheaper and faster. So saying about this cases with the Solana L1, L2, agree with Leo that ecosystem is one of the important parts for such projects. And I don't think that there will be some kind of project that will reach audience as Ethereum or Bitcoin has right now. So community, projects, solutions for building something new, it's very important. You see, we had Polkadot, we still have it. We had Cosmos, but they are not so popular or growing as Ethereum in terms of technology or adoption. So it's probably the fact that they are first. So Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency, but Ethereum was the first stateful blockchain. So we have a case where blockchain is stateless and stateful. So Bitcoin is stateless. It cannot do some advanced computation or logic. And we have Ethereum that was kind of the first who provided this in more or less user-friendly way. So I think that if Ethereum, it will be kind of a backbone of building something new. Of course, there will be specific solutions for areas like we have this Corda, if I'm not wrong. They're a type of blockchain that's specifically for banks or something like this. There will be different stuff, but if you are talking about general public and what will be heard by everyone on the streets, it's probably still Ethereum and Bitcoin. And actually, I think it's a problem. And I have a question: how we could kind of change this approach that people treat blockchain as a cryptocurrency. So when you're saying blockchain, majority understand cryptocurrency, but blockchain is much more than just cryptocurrency. It's a small use case, I would say. And even explaining use cases of ZK snarks and other solutions for scalability, it's difficult even in crypto communities. So maybe you have ideas how we could promote or how we can make aware about these new solutions, what benefits they are bringing, not just saying, okay, we are building new products and we are releasing token for it and you will earn. Not explaining that we are building this product to solve this issue, and this issue will create even more use cases that you can utilize from your side. Like, do you have any ideas how we could kind of simplify it or explain it, make it clear for general public?
Yeah, interesting question. Interesting question. I don't know. I'm not really into that type of research, but I can give you my my idea is like trying to remember other things that have lived, seeing kind of parallelisms and similarities. I think the adoption of blockchain is going to be a historical event, no? So I think like many people worry about how we increase the adoption of blockchain, how it's playing to people, but I think eventually like this have like a timing that is going to kind of proceed in its natural way, and it will be like the adoption of the smartphones and the adoption of the internet will be like historical event that after when we have gone through it, we will know that we have gone through it and that it has been adopted. No, so I think I don't think that's going to happen immediately. So I think there are risks of projects of coming too early, things that make sense perhaps in X years' times to try to build them now, and there is no kind of usage for them yet because there is not like the type of adoption that work for those projects. So there is those risks. So it's important to understand the timing. We are really in the early stages of all this blockchain stuff. We are really in the let's say kind of like the I feel like the 60s in computer science terms, in computer terms, like in the history of computer science. So yeah. So I think much thinking about this kind of like perhaps it's not necessary yet.
I think
as you're working in this area, you want to tell everyone that this is the future. This is how you will live in 10, 20 years.
But yeah, they have to understand it at the time.
Yeah, agree. It takes time.
So what could be like the main thing, the main driver of mass adoption?
It may sound horrible, but let's say usually huge failures are, a huge trigger for mass adoptions. So like, what do I want to say here? There are a few things that can actually use the highest advantages of the solution, for example, of those double spending problems in many cases. Like, in my opinion, the humanity will come to the stage when every real estate property will be signed not on some kind of paper and will be stored not in your, some kind of just table or some kind of bank or something like this. That the cases, for example, with real estate is very like clearly connected to blockchain. So, for example, it could solve this issue when some guy will say that, oh, come on, this guy stole my house, or come on, this guy stole the piece of my land. But until we meet the situations when we will have this, many amounts of these kind of cases when people have some kind of disagreements or have some kind of failures or market estates or some kind of another juridical point of view, only after we get this failure and we get the case to be resolved, then the smart people will come there and will say, okay, what are the conditions of here right now? Okay, so these processes are done manually, then it's done on the papers, it's stored by hand. Okay, it's not good. What are the other ways to solve this? Oh, these guys are talking about some kind of blockchain. Okay, let's get in touch with them. So basically, every huge failure, in the end of the day, it ends up with this kind of revelations. And usually it just takes more time to see the advantage from one solution to another. Yeah. I don't want to say unfortunately, but it will take some time. Leo, maybe we would like to add something.
No, yeah, I would like to add that we need much more scalability. I think we have to imagine like a future for mass adoption where we can kind of run a kind of a decentralized Facebook on top of the blockchain, no? And we are very, very fast in terms of scalability to allow that kind of amount of traffic, of informations on transactions going on. No? And I think we need to get to mass adoption. I see like scalability is going to be kind of a pusher, no? Like capability is going to be something that is going to be moving along with adoption. Yeah, because like adoption, like scalability will kind of provide for new applications that before without the scalability would not be possible, and that will bring more people. Yeah. Also.
I'd say in addition to sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. No, I was just saying, in addition to scalability, which is sort of what we need to achieve on the Web3 side of things, which is that we make our blockchain scalable. We can actually have so many transactions happen in the speed. We can actually accommodate mass adoption, right? We also need to increase awareness about it. There's very less trust in the system right now. There's from a very Web2 perspective, a lot of people don't exactly trust blockchain or crypto, or they don't understand the use cases of it. It's exactly what Oleksandr said, which is that blockchain is just equated to crypto, right? Whereas crypto is just a use case of blockchain. So there's a lot of maybe misinformation or absence of awareness right now to actually hope for the mass adoption that us as an industry hopes for. So I think the first step would obviously be increasing awareness about it, the right kind of awareness, educating people about what Web3 really is, what blockchain is, what NFTs are, what cryptos are, what each of these, the like millions of use cases that each of these individually have. And secondly, adopting different blockchain use cases in different industries, right? So for instance, I remember talking about this in the previous live stream as well. And one of the co-speakers there had done something on the lines of integrating blockchain with voting in elections. So that's a method where common people who are unaware of the technology see the applicability of the technology, right? They see how blockchain is now solving the issues that elections previously had. And so it's exactly what Manya said. When people have seen the previous system fail and they see that the new system is solving it and bringing in solutions, that's when they'll want to adopt it. Otherwise, everyone's just happy where they are, honestly. So it's kind of about increasing the awareness, and on our side, increasing the scalability of everything that we do is when we can actually hope for the mass adoption.
Yeah. From my side, I think that mass adoption will be when people will not notice that they are using blockchain, the same as internet. So people don't know how message sent in the Telegram or email sent on internet actually delivered. They don't know anything about protocols, routing, and other stuff. So I think I found an answer for my question. Probably we need to find right people to teach or to make aware of these technologies, because not like regular people moving industry, but some specific domain experts or holders of specific kind of industry. And to kind of based on my personal experience when I'm speaking with the guys from fintech area, not everyone completely understands use cases and benefits. So I think to bring mass adoption, we don't need to teach mass market. We need to teach specific domains. For example, if we are working in gaming, then we need to find nice gaming partner and propose something useful, not just blockchain for blockchain, but blockchain that solves some issues that exists for specific blockchain. In our case, we are working with the fintech, we are working with the trading. So in our case, we need to explain kind of main players on the market what are the benefits actually utilizing blockchain as a technology.
I
Thank
think
you so much.
even,
Yeah, please go ahead.
no, yes, like to give some context, perhaps it will not be called blockchain for the moment. At the moment it gets to mass adoption, perhaps we will have a new word for all these, or people will use more Web3, or there will be we will call it Web4 when it gets like in the shape that, or blockchain 2 when they get in the shape that is kind of getting to the mass adoption. There's going to be a lot of very interesting development from here to there, and that's like why are we so lucky to be in these so early stages.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Let me put on a couple questions we have from our community. So the first one is, what is the main disadvantage a layer 3 can have, and how can you solve or prevent it?
I can try to answer from my side. So actually layer 3, it's a way for us to solve disadvantages. So I don't see at the moment what are disadvantages, because we haven't implemented this and we haven't tested this in the full scale. I would have an answer on this question maybe after 1 year. So we can have a session in 1 year and I will try to answer it. But at the moment, actually, layer 3 is a solution that trying to fight disadvantages of previous layers, I would say.
The next question is about the scalability scope of the 4 layers. I believe, Leo, you were talking about this earlier. What would be your response to that?
Yeah, I don't know, like it makes sense to talk about the scalability in terms of layer 0, of how it has been defined here. L3 perhaps also perhaps it doesn't. No, it seems like for the concept we are using here, like scalability is going to end up belonging in the L2, and that's where the kind of the scalability decisions will be taken. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah. Although, I mean, it's not clear. I don't think like perhaps there is like kind of some impression of being like a continuum between the layers, no? And we are using here layer in different contexts and with different slightly different meanings, no? Yeah, so I'd say like L0 and L3 are very, very different, no? So yeah, I don't think you can think about them in the same terms, no?
Correct. Yeah, that's a very good way to put it, actually. And I believe the next question is gonna go to you as well. What is the career growth of layer 2 support engineer? I think there was also another question about like some possibilities of career in like such big projects. So maybe you could share some insights here.
I think from my point of view, I think L2, like there is going to be a lot of like most of the development is going to start to move to L2s and from L1s to L2. So I think it's a good career path to become like to develop a career on L2s and perhaps at the protocol level, working at perhaps at the protocol level, and also working at the application level on tools and even perhaps because of this also starting with the L3s or in kind of this some platforms to interoperate between L2s, no? So I think that's a very good, if you are entering now the kind of the software engineering world, I think is a good point, good place to go. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. So I suppose with that said, let me thank each and every one of you for attending the session, and thank you for all the listeners to be here and ask your questions. If you have any more, maybe we missed something, please ask them in our Yellow chat, or you can also ask them at the Yellow University platform. And see you next Friday on another live session. Thank you all, and have a great day, evening.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Very nice to meet you, everyone. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks.
Bye bye.